Desantis right now is calling for a new kind of law that would allow doctors who trans little kids to be sued.
These very young kids getting gender-affirming care. What they don't tell you what that is they're actually giving very young girls double mastectomies. They want to castrate these young boys. That's wrong. And so we've stood up and said, both from the health and children well-being perspective, you don't disfigure 10, 12, 13-year-old kids based on gender dysphoria. 80% of it resolves anyways by the time they get older. So why would you be doing this? I think these doctors need to get sued for what's happening. I'm sorry.
They absolutely do. So this is a good line for Desantis. He's also testing out now this idea. He's saying, hey, what do you think if we made it such that you could sue doctors for transing the kids? And it's getting some applause. They'll see how it plays in the local press. And then I hope Governor Desantis will actually turn this idea into a law. And what the libs and the technocrats are going to say is, excuse me, Governor Desantis, where's your medical degree? You don't even have a lab coat or a stethoscope. You're not even a genius medical physician like Dr. Rachel Levine or Dr. Fauci or all these people who are just completely insane and wrong about everything. You're not even one of those medical doctors. You're right. You're right. Should be DeSantis' answer. You're right. I'm not a medical doctor. I don't have a medical degree. And you know what? I don't need one. I'm the governor. And that, when we're talking about political matters and the law and government and how we run our society and how we treat poor little kids who are being victimized by creeps and perverts, being a governor is much more important than being some stupid medical doctor working for the public health establishment, transing the kids and killing the babies and locking us all down for 2 years. That's the answer. Oh, yeah, okay, you've got your statistics and your studies, and okay, that's fine. By the way, all of the actual credible studies on these sorts of issues are on our side. There is no credible medical study that says that boys are actually secretly girls. That doesn't exist. Okay, so the libs are, though they claim the mantle of science, are obviously very unscientific, but that's actually beside the point. We live in self-government, and the people of Florida have the right to say, don't trans the kids. I don't care what your stupid medical doctors and your establishment says. It doesn't matter to me. We're not going to let you trans the kids. And if you try to do it, we're going to sue you, and ideally we would throw you in jail or banish you to St. Helena, along with Dr. Fauci and all the rest of you power-mad technocrats. That's the right answer. And you can have the scientific conversation, too. You can have the scientific conversation and say, well, actually, you see, the girl has the 2 X chromosomes and the boy has the XY chromosome. And actually, if you put the kids on puberty blockers too early, then that's going to give them osteoporosis. And actually, it's going to give them all, and it's going to sterilize them. That's true. That's all true. It's all pertinent. But those are secondary matters. The first, most important aspect here is our liberty, not the individual liberty to mutilate yourself or to mutilate your kid even. The higher political liberty to say, this is the kind of society we want to live in. We're going to have a normal definition of man and a normal definition of woman, and we're not going to let perverts and radicals castrate our children. And that's that. And you can whine about it and you can cry about it, and if you don't like it, move to California. But we're not doing it in Florida. And DeSantis obviously gets this. He's testing the waters. I think if he goes all the way on that kind of message, it's going to serve him very, very well in a 2024 presidential election if he indeed runs for president. Right now, head on over to goodranchers.com/Knowles. I love Good Ranchers because the food is absolutely delicious and it's American beef and it's just magnificent. I eat it probably 3 times a week. But in addition to that, the second reason I love these guys is they're really good guys. Back to school season is upon us. While many American kids are excited to get back into the classroom, some others are not because these children don't know where their meals will be coming from this semester. That's why Good Ranchers has made it their mission to donate 100,000 high-quality meals to kids facing food insecurity and malnourishment this fall semester. For every box ordered through the month of August, Good Ranchers will donate a nutritious meal to a child in need. Help them reach their goal of 100,000 donated meals by ordering your box today. GoodRanchers.com/Knowles. They are an award-winning food delivery service, ships 100% American meat and seafood right to your door. They were just named the best food subscription service earlier this year. I totally agree with that. They are the fastest growing meat company in America. The quality is off the charts. Right now, use my code Knowles to get $30 off your order plus free shipping. Your purchase furthers their mission to donate 100,000 high-quality meals to children in need. Great cause that everyone should rally behind. GoodRanchers.com/Knowles. Head on over, use code Knowles today when you place your order, and let's get these guys some help to hit their goal. There is a little bit of bad news, just came out of Kansas. We had one of the election days. We're going to have a number of election days this year because it's a midterm election year. Different states hold different primaries and elections on different days. We had a little bit of a disappointment in Kansas. There was a pro-life amendment that was put up as a referendum. The people were voting on this amendment, and the pro-life amendment failed. And there's some lessons here for pro-life activists, conservatives more broadly, into why it failed and how we can avoid failure in the future. So the pro-life amendment in Kansas was the first statewide referendum on abortion since the Dobbs decision came down and overruled Roe v. Wade and overruled Planned Parenthood v. Casey and got rid of the national constitutional right to an abortion that doesn't actually exist. The referendum was a little bit weird. The Kansas state constitution includes a right to abortion. The referendum that just failed was to replace the pro-abortion amendment, the right to an abortion in the state constitution, with a right to life. So a constitutional ban on abortion in Kansas. And it failed. Unfortunately, it failed by 17 percentage points, so it was not particularly close. And the question is, why did it fail? How did it fail? I don't know. I don't have the text of the amendment in front of me. The title of the amendment was the Value Them Both Amendment. But the issue of abortion is not simply black and white. Okay, there can be nuance here, and don't forget we're called to be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. So one way that the pro-life amendment perhaps could have been framed is not even as a pro-life amendment, but as a get this crazy abortion thing out of our state constitution amendment. In fact, the way that you just saw the pro-life issue play out at the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court didn't come down and say, okay, now we have a national right to life. The Supreme Court came down and said, it's not in the Constitution, make your own laws. Had this been more of a legislative matter rather than a referendum for an amendment to the Constitution, that might have worked out a little bit better for pro-lifers. It's hard to tell with Kansas. We're going to see how this plays. Generally, you think of Kansas as a fairly Republican state, fairly conservative place. We will see how this plays out throughout the rest of the country. But it's an important reminder because I think conservatives are feeling a little like the wind is at our sails right now, and in many ways it is. But it's not going to be a simple victory after victory after victory after victory. We're going to have to be clever. We're going to have to tailor our message to different states. We're going to have to know that what works in Virginia is not going to work necessarily in Texas, is not going to work necessarily in Florida, is not going to work necessarily in Kansas. We've got to be clever and take the greatest wins that we can possibly get without letting perfect get in the way of good. I'm so glad you liked that clip. You know, we hit 1 million subscribers, and that's big, I know, but we don't want to rest on our laurels. We don't want to pat ourselves on the back. I want to hit 1 billion. I do. So I really need you to ring, subscribe, like, click, MySpace, I don't know. Make sure you get the notifications. We'll see you next time.